So let's talk about some of the stories that Abigail Shrier shares in her book, Irreversible Damage, The Transgender Craze Seducing Our Daughters. She talks about a girl named Benji who decides suddenly that she identifies as a boy. Everyone affirmed her on social media as she was seeking out this affirmation about her transition. It was fascinating because if you don't know this, in the transgender community, people often refer to being your glitter family. As in, if you want to transition, if you want to do you, if you want to be a unicorn, if you want to be unique. By the way, I'm sitting here going, are you kidding me? The unicorn is kind of one of the symbols of the LGBTQ movement because you're unique, you're one of a kind, you can be whatever you want to be, you can be mythical and an imagination, make up whatever you want to be. You do you. The phrase of relativism, right? You define your own reality. Well, people were supporting Benji, telling her, well, we'll be here. We'll be your glitter family where you can razzle and dazzle any way you want by transitioning. But then guess what happened to her? They started making requests of her after her transition, and they started asking her for photos. You know what I'm talking about. Because this is a social pressure that young girls are in today. They're nothing but a sexual object. And they're just a little more fascinating now because they've decided to so-called transition, whether it's through an actual physical mutilation of a sex change or through cross-sex hormones. And so we've got to look at these stories of these young girls. And I'm on that path where I agree. Teenage girls should not be on social media. This is what happens. In fact, many women, many adults, male and female, shouldn't be on social media. Sure, we can talk about how it's connected people, but at the same time, are we talking about the real psychological impact it's having on people? I remember just a few months ago, you may recall, Adele has gone through this massive weight loss. She's a well-known singer from the UK, beautifully trained voice. She's received major criticism for having lost weight. People would say she's better fat, or she's fat-shaming people by sharing her photos of being skinny suddenly. Lady Gaga is another person, the singer, songwriter Lady Gaga. They've criticized her publicly. People hate accomplishments. We're like crabs, where a crab starts to climb out of the box and they're able to make their way out. Next thing you know, all the other crabs start pulling that crab down because no one can get out. No one can be better than. We can't handle ourselves. This is what we're doing to these girls. Lana Del Rey is another example. She posted something a couple months ago about a great accomplishment she made. The first comment on her social media post, photo of herself, was someone just saying, "You look fat." First comment. This is a real problem of social media and social influence. Teenagers cannot decipher the trolls and the lies from the truth. It's destroying their sense of self-esteem. It's impacting their overall mental health. Mental health disorders are contagious. Look at some of the studies having to do with anorexia. Look at some of the studies having to do with transgender hordes of girls becoming all of a sudden quote-unquote boys together. They encourage one another. You can't even put an anorexic girl with another anorexic girl in a psychiatric ward or in a medical institution, because if they're next to each other, they're just going to keep encouraging each other to lose weight. Social influence is destroying young girls today. And I'm not just saying media's bad, you should get rid of your TV, you should get rid of your iPhone. What I'm saying is that we do need to wake up and we need to make some decisions. Because the bottom line is this. With regard to the transgender issue, most kids grow out of gender dysphoria. We're looking at statistics showing that upwards of 9 out of 10 kids who experience some form of gender dysphoria, by the time they've gone through puberty, as they continue to develop, it totally goes away on its own without even any so-called treatment. There's another problem with this universal care approach of Western countries, where someone suddenly says that they identify as something other than their biological sex. Laws have been passed in many of the Western countries that enforce that you have to give affirmative care in both the medical and psychiatric fields to whatever that person says they identify as, not what their biology actually says. In fact, in the UK, we know of medical doctors who are getting in trouble for insisting on treating biological male or biological female patients as what they actually are biologically. But how do you treat someone when their body parts are literally created in a different way than you're being told to treat them? It used to be that transgenderism was predominant among boys, but this is changing to an increase in girls coming out as transgender. Girls are being influenced by social media and social pressure. We do not know the long-term impact that this testosterone experiment will have. There's no oversight, no knowledge of long-term side effects. The only knowledge we have are some ideas, and those ideas of the negative impact that testosterone has had has been long-term, life-changing, and irreversible. Girls deserve better. We can't say that loudly enough. These girls really, truly deserve better than what they are being given through this transgender trend that will come and go. We need to talk about the beauty of femininity, the value of women, and affirm girls as they are, not by telling them that they need to be something else other than who they really are.